What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's championship week for picks and predictions. First game on is Friday, 7 p.m. We have Liberty, New Mexico State at the CUSA Championship. We have Liberty clearly the victor here. New Mexico State isn't very. I know they just beat Auburn like a couple weeks ago, but Auburn is like not very good. And Liberty's undefeated. I think Liberty's gonna go 12-0. They're gonna be the team in the New York Six Bowl. I know there's some people trying to claim like SMU and freaking Tulane. No one wants those teams. Those teams have losses. Liberty undefeated. They're 25 right now. I expect Liberty to be jumping in the college football playoff rankings over Tulane to get that bid. Especially this week after they win 35-17, easily covering that -10. Next Friday night game we have is the Pac-12 Championship presented by that gas station we all know and love. We have 4 versus 6, Washington, Oregon rematch, and I have Oregon winning this 42-38. It says the -9.5, but Washington is going to keep it close, just like the last time. I know we're going to be at a neutral site game. Neutral site, different environment. Washington I expect to be like number 3. Oregon's still going to be right around number 6, maybe 4, depending on where they put Ohio State on the rankings. Would take the over on that one, but I would not take that -9.5. It would definitely be that +9.5. I do think it's going to be very close. They're definitely not going to win by 10 points, and I do think have Oregon winning. That we're creating chaos here. Chaos. Next, first Saturday game is the Big 12 Championship presented by Dr. Pepper. Texas versus Oklahoma State. I don't think Oklahoma State's going to get that upset. I think Texas is going to win this with ease, 35-21. They're going to keep it close in the first half. Then Texas is going to take off like they've been every other week. And Oklahoma State's going to crumble just like most weeks, except a couple of those really bad teams. They crumbled worse than Oklahoma State, so then Oklahoma State ended up winning. But I do think Texas is going to win this by around like 14-ish points. 14.5 is kind of high, but I do think they're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. Next noon game, we have the MAC Championship. And it's Toledo versus the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. I have Toledo barely scraping by on this one, 24-21. The MAC Championship is generally a really competitive game. Toledo's 11-1, but Miami is also 10-2. And Toledo is just slightly better than Miami, but I do expect this to be very close by like a field goal, maybe even less. It's not going to be a whole touchdown, but it's going to be a very competitive game and a very good game to watch, especially if Toledo wins. They might have a chance to get in the rankings for that following week just because they'll be 12-1. But we'll see how the committee looks at how many Group of 5 teams they want in the top 25. Next Group of 5 championship game we have is the Mountain West, Boise versus UNLV. I know there's going to be a lot of drama because they use the computer to justify who's in this championship. It was a 3-way tie, and they came out with Boise and UNLV. That championship wasn't announced till Sunday middle of the day-ish, and I have UNLV winning this. So my reasoning for UNLV winning over Boise is not just because of record, because UNLV just played better football. I know they got blown out by Michigan, but overall they were playing better. They had better wins. Boise's win-loss, their losses are really bad, and I don't think they're going to be as consistent as UNLV. So I got them winning 31-28. It's going to be a very close game, but I still have UNLV winning this. This is probably going to be the game of the week is Georgia-Alabama. Who is going to be the SEC Championship? Is it going to be Alabama upsetting Georgia? And I have that as a yes. Alabama's going to win this 35-31. Analytically, they're like neck and neck on the FBI ranking. Georgia has a better offense than Alabama, but Alabama has a better defense according to the analytics. But I do have Alabama winning this at a neutral site game. I think Georgia's has a lot of close ones, and Alabama, I know against Auburn they were struggling, but I do think Alabama's going to bounce back from that. They're going to be very explosive. It's going to be a very high-scoring game. Not too high-scoring like in the 40s or anything, but in the 30s, and I do have Alabama crushing this one, and it's going to create some madness, and like madness is always fun because it really gets to see how the committee handles that kind of madness. Because if Alabama wins and Texas wins, are they going to make Alabama jump Texas because they beat the number 1 team? But we'll find out in that following week when the committee makes that decision. Next 4 o'clock game we have is Tulane versus SMU. I have Tulane losing this. I have SMU upsetting Tulane SMU is better analytically. They've been playing better football. They have more commanding wins. Tulane's been keeping a lot of games close, and I think it's going to be a very tight one, 28-24 at the American Conference Championship here. So I think that Tulane is a very overrated team, and I don't think they deserve the number 23 spot. And I have SMU upsetting this game. It's going to be a very close one. I think it's going to be very entertaining to watch, so I would definitely watch it. But it's also happening at the same time as SEC Championship game, so I don't think a lot of you guys will be tuning into this one. Next 4 o'clock game we have is the game that nobody's going to watch, the Sun Belt Conference Football Championship, brought to you by Hercules Tires. We have Appalachian State versus the Troy Trojans. I have Appalachian State winning this. I know Troy has a better record, but all of Appalachian's losses were by 1 score, and they beat James Madison, the superior team in the Sun Belt Conference. Troy's, all of their losses they're getting blown out by teams, and they lost to James Madison. So I have Appalachian State overcoming that and winning this Sun Belt Conference Championship, but we all know James Madison should be in this game to compete for that title. But the NCAA, as with all their faults, want to hold those players back and not let them compete. So I do have Appalachian State winning this, but no one's going to watch this game anyway. So the next 8 o'clock game we have is Iowa Hawkeyes. They're going to come out here and upset Michigan 35-10, no question. Iowa's offense is superior. Their defense is going to hold Michigan to 10 points, no question. It's going to be super fun. Iowa's going to be that Big Ten champions for the first time in a long time. Just jokes. I'm just kidding. There's no freaking way Iowa's going to beat Michigan. It's going to be 24-6. No question. I do think they're not going to cover the over and under on this one. I think that they're going to cover. It's going to be slightly less than 35 points scored, just because I feel like Iowa's defense can hold them. It's going to be a very slow game because when Iowa played Penn State, it was very slow at the first half, and Michigan this year has been very slow coming out of the gate. They haven't really been blowing teams out to the second half. And I think Iowa could try to compete, and then Iowa's going to score like 2 field goals, maybe a touchdown. I don't know. I put them at 6, but Michigan, we're gonna keep it the under just because it's always fun to have the under for Iowa games because they haven't made the over in a long time. But if Iowa does win, it's gonna create more chaos in the future. But the likelihood of that is like slim to none. But I would love for my Hawkeyes to get that dub. But it is what it is. Next 8 o'clock game we have the ACC Championship. I will say the ACC Championship's logo is probably the best one of all the conferences. SEC, Big Ten are probably the most boring. They got to be more creative with their logos. But I do have Florida State losing this one to Louisville, 24-21. Florida State's trying to find themselves because they don't have a quarterback, and last week really showed that if Florida had any level of consistency, they would have beat Florida State last week. But they let Florida State come back, and then they eventually overtake it. But I do think Louisville is a more consistent team. I know they lost in overtime to Kentucky, but rivalry week is rivalry week for a reason, and teams get upset all the time. But I think they're going to get back to form and overtake Florida State here in the championship. I feel bad for it because Florida State definitely deserves a spot, but Florida State, their quarterback was a key piece to the success of Florida State, even though he wasn't like the best QB, but he definitely was holding it together. But I do have Louisville upsetting Florida State this week. That's going to be it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you like more content like this. And make sure you check out more content on the channel. We got plenty of stuff. We got plenty of stuff coming. Peace!